That was a great one, but hey, we've still got a lot of good ones on tap. Specifically, number 13, Washington State on the road at UCLA. The Bruins are now 3.5-point home favorites, and this one carries an over-under 59 points. It kicks off at 3 p.m. Eastern on Pac-12 Network. Guess we're not watching it. At least I'm not watching it. It's going to be a hot one here. It's going to be a hot one here in Pasadena. I had to triple check this to make sure that I wasn't getting the temperature on the other side of the mountains. No, highs are going to be in the low 90s here, Kelly, in Los Angeles for an crisp October afternoon here for you. This is the first meeting of these teams since 2018, and college football junkies, remember what happened then. UCLA had that 32-point comeback in the second half and secured an outright win as plus 18.5-point underdogs. They scored 50 second-half points, including 29 in the final frame. I hate to admit that I was watching this game late night and fell asleep and woke up for the final 5 minutes. When I went to sleep, UCLA was down 30. When I woke up, the game was tied. So one of the all-time Pac-12 games out there last time they played. This game did open UCLA minus 2.5, and needless to say, that did not last very long. It got bet up immediately. So if you got the 2.5 ticket, good for you. I wish I was there with you. This also opened with a 66.5 total, and that got moved down a whole touchdown. Whoops. We'll see after the fact. Maybe the books can go back and laugh, but to me, it seems like there were just two massively mispriced numbers on this game. You're dealing with a couple of high-tempo teams. UCLA is 12th in pace. Wazoo is 47th in pace. But UCLA also has a very, very good defense. They're first in early down EPA. They're second against the run. Cam Ward, though, he finally gets a real offensive coordinator. Ben Arbuckle comes in and turns him into the prolific passer that we believed he was before last season. I do feel kind of badly that it didn't work out with his old offensive coordinator from Incarnate Word that came up to Washington State, but it just didn't. He was pretty ineffective last year. And as I mentioned earlier in the episode, he's one of 3 quarterbacks with 10 or more touchdown passes and no picks. That's 13 touchdown passes, no interceptions, plus a 75% completion rate. Now, they will be without leading wide receiver Lincoln Victor. He's injured. He's not playing. That's already been confirmed. Josh Kelly, on the other hand, has emerged as a playmaker. He had that stellar one-handed grab a couple of weeks back, if you remember watching that one, maybe on Twitter if you didn't see it live. But Washington State is 105th in rushing success rate allowed and 105th in tackling. Now, UCLA has a running back named Carson Steele, who happens to be picking up 4.78 yards after contact. That's 11th best nationally. And they also have a second punch in TJ Harden, who's just been awesome. He's been a great compliment this year at 7.4 yards per attempt. These two are splitting the backfield almost evenly. Keeping Dante Moore clean has been the biggest issue for UCLA, though. He was sacked 7 times against Utah and 4 other times in their 2 other FBS games, including against Coastal Carolina. Yikes. Not great. The big issue has been the left side of the offensive line. 42% of pressures come from the left tackle and the left guard. Teams know that. They're starting to attack that. You saw it in that Utah game. Washington State, though, they're only 84th in sack rate, so they're not putting out the biggest, the best pass rush out there. But something has to give. Somebody's going to improve their numbers in this game, be it Washington State's pass rush or UCLA's offensive line. I want to know if Utah put the tape out there. Rush that left side of the line, force Dante Moore to bail early and run into sacks. It's a very freshman thing that he does, as he runs directly into pressure sometimes. So that's what I'm looking for early in this game. But what do your numbers say about this one?
Yeah, but I have UCLA -6. It's a 66% win expectancy. You touched on a couple of things there at the beginning. Pac-12 Network, I've even tweeted about this. The only good thing about the demise of the Pac-12, and I do mean the only good thing, is that we lose the Pac-12 Network. It's it stinks that it's not available to so much of the country, including myself and you and other massive college football fans who would absolutely watch these games if we just had the option to. I don't even think I can purchase the Pac-12 Network as far as I know in the area in which I live. I don't think it's an option. So that is the only good thing that I'm excited about for 2024 and the no longer having the Pac-12 or the Pac-12 as we know it, at least. The other thing, I opened this episode by talking about, it's October, we got cool weather, it's college football season, open those windows, put on the sweatshirts, and you're like, yeah, no, it's going to be in the 90s or this one. Yikes, guys, what's going on? We got to cool things off here. I get it's LA.
Well,
but
it's going to be 20 degrees cooler in Texas than it is in Los Angeles.
I know. I'm not a fan of that. Hey, listen, Southern California, you guys got great weather and all that. I get it, but man, it shouldn't be 90 degrees in October anywhere in the U.S. Anyway, UCLA -6. The UCLA offense has been slightly worse than expected. They've fallen from number 13 to number 25 for me. But the Bruins defense has been much better than expected. They've risen from number 66 to what's a very strong number 14 now. That's second best in the Pac-12 by my numbers. I've been very impressed by the Bruins defense. As a result of those movements, UCLA's power rating is a field goal better now compared to the preseason. Projected as an underdog in only 2 remaining games, that would be at Oregon State and at USC, the Bruins now have a 49% chance to win at least 9 regular season games. We talked about it coming into the year. The UCLA schedule wasn't quite as difficult as some of the other ones out there. They now have nearly a 50% chance to make it to 9+ regular season wins. On the other side, Washington State has been one of the most pleasant surprises from a conference full of pleasant surprises. At number 8 in my most deserving rankings, there's only a 43% chance that the average top 25 team would be 4-0 against Washington's schedule. The unexpected wins against Wisconsin and Oregon State, I mean, they were projected underdogs by both of those by my numbers, have the Cougars number 6 in my overachievers list with 1.7 more wins than expected through week 5. The defense has improved from number 41 to number 22. The offense has improved even more from number 58 to number 17. So good improvement, good resume for Washington State. All that said, I have UCLA as the slightly better team, and this game is at the Rose Bowl. Bottom line, I have UCLA -6, 34% chance that Washington State moves to 2-0 in conference play. Listen, it's really a 3-team race in the Pac-12 by the numbers right now. I will say that the winner of this game will have the 4th best odds to make it to the Pac-12 championship game. If UCLA wins, it's 12%. If Washington State wins, it's a 17%. But everybody's looking up right now at Oregon, Washington, and USC. Now, those teams all have to play each other, so they're going to pick up some losses, and it opens the door potentially, but it's not quite a full 4-team race just yet. The winner here is best position, though, by my numbers, Brett.
So Sagarin's current home field advantage, which I love using it because he adjusts it as the year goes on, he's putting it about 2.28 points for this week. And I know the spread's 3.5, but boy, the not being played in Pullman is what that's the way I'd bet. I would bet the home team no matter what's going on here. If Washington State was at home, this would be a very, very, very different conversation, in my opinion. Due to the propensity to take sacks well behind the line of scrimmage, I mean, moving just completely into pressure. Again, it's a freshman thing. It's Dante Moore. He's going to learn from that. I'd look to bet under his rushing yards if it's offered. I hate the fact that sacks factor into rushing yards in college. Like, get rid of that. What are we doing? But it is advantageous in situations like this if you're trying to bet under quarterback rushing yards. Again, we'll see what they give it to us, if they give it to us at all. Outside of that, he has 7 rushes for 16 yards on non-sack attempts. So he's not exactly the biggest threat with his wheels. If this was in Pullman, I'd be all over Washington State. But the fact that it's in Pasadena, I can't bet it north of 3. I just can't. If I can get a 3, I'll gladly go back in on UCLA. But this is a perfect example of rating versus ranking, because you have number 13 Washington State, an underdog and a growing one at that, on the road here against an unranked opponent.